by simply sanitizing your workspace and washing your hands. Health officials say you can avoid that flu bug all season. According to the criminal complaint, one of the tricks they used to get away with the goods was placing the items in the cart, then covering them up with other items. When I type in the word Eckankar to google.com, one of the first suggestions is Eckankar Colt. And when I type in Harold Klemp, Eckankar's charismatic leader, Google also suggests the same thing. The real action happens in the training facility. They get outside the classroom and inside the grain bins, burying someone in the corn, putting these panels to work. Police say a plastic bag links Jeffrey Brooks to the murder. It was found in a dumpster. KSAX received an anonymous letter this morning. Inside, the criminal complaint for Michael Moen. A 14-year-old Crosby boy may be charged with attempted arson. It's a building that's been making headlines for weeks, and now it's starring in a movie. But this high-profile case is creating some controversy. It was senior picture day today, but it's not what you're thinking. KSAX reporter Jenna Losi gives us a snapshot into what happened. When people hit the lake, most expect to hook a walleye in northern or a bass. And that's all Beth Crone had gambled for 4th of July weekend on Lake Ida. That is until
I got snagged. And I said, oh, Mark, I said, go back, I want to get unsnagged.
A snag that would send her morning from normal to nightmare in no time.
It kept coming up, and I went, oh my gosh. I said, I hope it's not a dead body.
Dead body it was not. Body part? Well, kind of.
We got it up, and it was a prosthetic leg.
What would anybody think if they pull up and see part of a leg when they're pulling it up? They probably wondered where the rest of the body was.
This is Pam Riley, and this is her water leg. And after Beth catches it that morning, she ends up calling Advance O&P in Alexandria in hopes of finding its rightful left leg owner. Turns out she reeled it in right in the nick of time.
We told her we found this prosthetic leg, and she started laughing, just wait, I'm going to put you on hold. So she put me on hold, and she says, you're never going to believe this. She said, the woman that lost it is right here in the office, and she wants to talk to you.
The assistant came in and said she had a lady on a phone and that had just found a leg on Lake Ida. And she said, didn't you lose a leg in Lake Ida? I said, yeah, about 3 years ago. She said, well, she just caught it this morning.
Pam and Beth met up later that day in the Walmart parking lot in Alexandria to exchange stories and body parts.
We laughed about it a lot and we made jokes about it over the years, but we never really thought anybody would actually snag it.
And after all is said and done, Beth's catch may not be one for the wall, but it's definitely a keeper.
I said, well, I hope you win the prize for the biggest catch of the season.
How can you top that? It's like going deer hunting and catching the biggest buck, or shooting the biggest buck of all. You can't top that, I don't think. No, it's funny.
In Alexandria.
It's going to be nice to have a spare.
Laurie Stribling, KSAX Eyewitness News. Farming in Minnesota hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. Crops still come up in rows. Another thing that hasn't changed, how dangerous it can be.
More and more people have been dying.
And Dale Ekdahl is working to change that. His company has invented this rescue device, which can save people buried in grain.
The survivability is very, very poor on that kind of situation.
Over the last 10 years in Minnesota, 8 people have died caught in grain bins, 2 in Grant County. But recently, Dale's invention saved 2 lives in Iowa.
It gives you goosebumps, that's for sure. The cost can't be measured because there's 2 humans walking around right now that wouldn't be.
Wednesday, an area grain company was learning skills that may help them save a friend's life.
Like we always say at every safety meeting we have, we like to send our employees home at the end of every day.
The real action happens in the training facility. They get outside the classroom and inside the grain bins, burying someone in the corn, putting these panels to work. Dale sinks into the corn to show us how it works. Rescuers put panels together, building a barrier to keep the corn out, while others dig. A 10-panel system costs a farm about $2,000. Dale says a small price to solve a problem as old as farming.
We would be the Henry Ford of grain bin rescue tubes. We'd want one in every garage.
Seeing the air conditioner unit start to fall, that's going to be imprinted in my mind. I mean, just you could see it start to buckle, and then that was it. Lights out, full of insulation, coughing that stuff up.
Startled, shaken, and thankful to be alive. Just a few phrases David Ginden uses to describe what he calls a close call.
right over there underneath the counter. Actually, I was standing at the counter. Just heard some loud banging. Thought somebody was up in our attic working on it, just to see the roof just start coming right at us.
The ceiling comes crashing down at the Wagner hardware store in Glenwood because of the weight of snow piled up on the roof. And now all that's left is a big mess.
Thank God those counters are there, because it would have. Yeah, looking underneath there today is a wild, it's tight in there.
Nobody was injured during the collapse, but Wagner employees aren't the only ones who dodged a bullet. Right next door, the Napa store experienced a snowy situation earlier that day.
When we walked in the store yesterday morning, our roof here was sagging considerably. And we went up and explored it and found that we had about 8 rafters that were cracked.
But owner Jim Gradius didn't take any chances. He had the roof repaired immediately, and it may have saved his store.
We lucked out. We didn't tear our roof open.
Just hours after the Napa store got their roof fixed, the roof came crashing down at the Wagner hardware store just a few feet away.
It's like a bunch of firecrackers all of a sudden, snap, 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 and then a big crash.
And Glenwood Fire Chief Dave Orlowski says this may just be one of many roof collapses this season.
It's February now. We look ahead and the snow tends to get heavier as we get closer to spring. So a big thing would be just to be out and prevent it.
And regardless of how frightening the collapse was for employees, Gindin can't wait to get back to work.
Well, I'm wondering where the broom is. Let's get going. Let's start cleaning this place up and let's get her back open.
We're in my Corvette/cow room.
Or you could call it the Move Room. 2,000 toy Corvettes and countless cows fill Mike Hikas's museum/2,000 car garage.
This one here is a 24-karat gold plated.
Here's a flashlight. You push the button, the mouth opens.
He's got Corvettes dipped in fine metals, cows that double as slingshots. And after 29 years, he's finally saying goodbye to his first love.
It's kind of a relief to stop collecting Corvettes.
And utter the words goodbye, but only if the price is right.
I consider selling the Corvettes to a serious collector. The whole group of Corvettes I'd sell as one set.
But a decision this big won't come without some serious therapy.
Maybe there's some 10-step program to stop collecting Corvettes.
And although he's gassing up to get rid of the muscle cars,
A few cowbells.
He's milking his addiction to his spotted friends.
If I sell the Corvettes, I can collect more cows.